Welcome to the next installment of the Dismount podcast. And today we are discussing money. How the fudge do you balance a checkbook? Look at this guy right here. He has no clue what the hell he's doing with his life. He's just chilling on a beach. This is a deep psychological dive into money and our relationship with it, and how little of a relationship we might think we have, how great of a relationship we might think we have, but overall, this is about us and essentially kind of releasing the traumas that we've had from the 30 years that we've been living around money. So I threw out a crazy question to you guys, and I want to start the podcast out with that crazy question. Why do you feel that you do not have an unlimited bank account?
Well, you want to know why?
I want to know exactly why.
I haven't told either of you this, because the perfect instance of why I believe I truly don't have an unlimited bank account came to fruition on Friday when I parked my car around the corner from my girlfriend's house, paid for parking, went inside to her apartment, started moving some things into my brother-in-law's truck, took it to the storage unit, came back, walked over with her to pick up the car to go get lunch, and found a boot on my car.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Dude, I've always visualized like, man, I don't want to be that guy. And a couple unpaid parking tickets from the COVID era. I haven't not paid for parking in years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean this. I genuinely mean this, out of fear that I would get booted. And my sister would laugh at me because she told me this will happen. And I just didn't listen. I'm like, oh, they'll never get me. And it goes back to, and this will correlate to the episode of like lessons you learn from money and things you hope to change in the future. But like back at RMU, I had the same issue. I couldn't graduate because I didn't pay any of my parking tickets because I never bought a permit. Now that goes back into me like being financially responsible for myself at that time and choosing how to spend my money, and not like, oh, someone will just cover the permit for me or I have enough money to do it. It's a responsible thing. It's okay, it's my money and I worked for it and I'm choosing to not pay for parking. I think the amount of tickets I got in college correlated to right around how much it cost to pay for permitted parking for the 4 years. So I like broke even. The boot on the car on Friday was not breaking even, close to it. It was it was almost $1,000.
Wow, dog. To get a boot off your car.
$300 to get the boot off the car, and then for the parking tickets as well.
I don't think we're...
Okay.
Yeah.
So they accrued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get more expensive.
Holy shit.
Oh. So,
I don't think we're...
I had a state trooper, like a sheriff, come to my parents' house and wanted to arrest me last year for a parking ticket that I got in the South Side years ago.
Years ago.
And the
Well, that's what I
funny
mean.
thing
It's
is,
years ago. Like
Yeah.
when I parked the car on Friday, and not to cut you off, dude, they had me booted in 20 minutes. It's like, I don't know how the parking authority works, but they had to have gotten like the notification alert, like there was an Amber Alert or something, like Derek just parked here, go get him. Because my car was booted in 20 minutes. After I even paid for the parking. Oh, I may have been better off not paying.
I don't think
probably.
I could tell you how that works if you're curious.
Do they know when I park?
So imagine you walk up. I've booted cars, unfortunately. I've been that guy. I've been that guy. To be fair, I tried to do everything I could to prevent it. Gave people notices, all kinds of stuff, multiple notices. I gave heads up. And then the people continue to do it, even though I put a notice like on their car, like the day before, a giant red piece of paper that says, hey, your car is going to get booted because you have 20 tickets that are outstanding. People are like, haha, this isn't a real street. And I'm like, well, now you found out. I'm not going to say the first part, I'm going to keep PG, but they found out. And I'm not saying what happened was justified. But what happens is you basically go walk around and you see if somebody has paid for their parking based on their plate on a device. Then I'll repeat that, on a device. So once you see that, you could see if they paid, but you could also see if they have outstanding tickets. For me, I did it the fair way. Say that I saw you had 20 tickets. Then I gave you a notice that says, hey, you mess up again, you get the boot. But they didn't give any notice for you. I don't know if they have to, I did it because I was covering myself. But what happens is you look it up. If that plate comes back, it'll tell you if they parked, and it'll also tell you how many tickets they've had in the past. And based on that person, they probably had the boot in their car. They had the boot like in their car ready to go just based on timing, because otherwise they'd have to go all the way back to whatever office they're working out of. So they probably had it on them. And honestly, it's as simple as taking a giant jaw, closing the jaw, then putting your key that has like a giant knob, putting that in, twisting it, pulling it out, you're done. I mean, I'm giving away a lot in the industry, but
I don't think
You're giving away a lot of trade secrets.
Mouth.
Hey, I'll give you a red notice.
That was crazy was the turnaround time. I parked my car at 2:00 and I had a boot on it by 2:15.
That's badass.
I don't think we're efficiency.
I mean,
think that's
yeah.
my tax dollars.
Never seen them work that hard.
No, they should be in the Olympics right now. gold medal. Chinese ain't competing with this.
So why do you think you don't have an unlimited bank account?
Because I haven't received my sales job commission in the last few months just because of the way things turn around at my job, and I had to pay perks of almost $1,000 out of pocket when I have no money. So like, there's no one to turn to in the situation, and that goes back to like me paying for parking tickets in college, or me being financially independent from like age 16 on for the most part. You know, I've had help when needed along the way, and I'm blessed for that. But like, knowing that was the expectation early on, and then trying to learn on the fly with like things like this of how you should, and that's what like, I don't think money too is, you know, and this could be a segue, you know, conversation later, but I think like how hard it is when you don't have enough money to be able to afford something like paying for your parking tickets, and how that thing snowballs. Learning from those instances of like how quickly things can financially snowball out of control is nuts, and no one ever tells you that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, as far as why, and I know this will go into another subject of why I don't feel like I have an unlimited bank account, it's just because of that growth I had to take on early on of being financially responsible for myself, knowing like, hey, you have to kind of be accounting for every single dime on an income like that, and then, you know, acting in the way where if you get hit with something like parking tickets or whatever, how important that is to take care of it then, even if it means you're back on money at that point, because it can turn around and smack you in the face when you least expect it. It was like the worst time for that to happen, like in the middle of moving and everything. It's just, yeah, it's the quickest way for them to get their money, though. I'll end it on that. It was off in 30 minutes after I paid. Yeah, they know what they're doing. Yeah.
So, Tit, what's the question to your answer? Nah, I'm messing with you. What's your answer to this question?
So my relationship with money and why I don't feel like it's unlimited. For me, I actually didn't write this part as part of my notes, but my father-in-law, he asked me if there was anything that like my parents taught me that really stuck. One of the things that stuck with him that also he taught Trisha, which I still take a lot of stock in, is he said, my father told me that if I wanted to retire, I need to have at least $1 million saved. So that makes me think like, yeah, you don't have a limited amount of money. Like a lot of people won't even be able to make $1 million in a lifetime, let alone save for that in a lifetime. And I think for me, whenever I was younger, I used to spend off my debit card. So when I was 16, that was my first on paper job. I certainly have like worked odd jobs, you know, outside of that, like cutting grass and whatnot. You know, IRS could come after me. He cut grass. He didn't report it. Like 12. But once I got to start having a debit card, I'll mention later in the episode about how I spent my tip money, but my debit card, in my eyes, I was like, okay, I have a certain number in the back of my head. I can't be spending over that. I just need to remember how much I have in my account and then be able to only spend up to that number. So then I did that until I got to a point where I started saving. And then, you know, as I got older at different points in my life, I learned, like, okay, you need X amount saved in your savings, need X amount in your checking. And now at my point, when I'm married, now, you know, this isn't revealing too much, but we have a joint checking and a joint savings. So if we're spending money on something together, then we have certain percentages that we're allocating for each. Then obviously you have like your 401k also. Now, my money, I try to treat it like, okay, you can only spend up to X amount of dollars on your credit card per month. That's the only spending money you have. And then if you want to spend anything in cash, that's lumped up in the same amount. I'm not going to tell you guys what that number is, but we'll just act like it was $200. So I'd only be able to spend $200 on a debit card in a given month, and that's counting cash. So then I can't go past that number in my eyes, because as soon as that money gets into my account, I transfer it over to any accounts that aren't my checking account. That money in my eyes doesn't exist. I can't touch it. My joint checking, that Trisha and I can only spend it on joint things. Joint savings, can't touch it. Savings, can't touch it. Checking, fair game. But I try not to leave like almost anything in there. Also because someone stole my debit card, then I'm in a crappy situation. Like if they know my debit card, know my PIN, then I'm in a crappy situation. But they steal my credit card, that stuff's backed up. So mine, I just have those different allocations. Then I also, back of my head, I'm like, you're not $1 million. You don't have an unlimited bank account because you can't retire right now if you don't have $1 million.
I was gonna say like that just makes you think of how sure you're allocating for savings and allocating for different things you're paying on a monthly basis, like rent or groceries or something.
That too,
But like you can't even act like the money you have in your bank account saved is anything to put weight towards if you're in debt. Like I still have like $35,000 or $30,000 in student debt to pay. Negative 30,000 minus my bank account in the hole. Like that's where I sit. Like I don't have money at all. So with how expensive things are, like things are so much more expensive than they used to be. And then on top of that, understanding that if I want to build a future and invest in different things, that I'm just going to continue to sit in the hole unless I'm saving money and actively pursuing that, it becomes really tough to, I can sit there and go, some extra spending money, like this is fun, I can go do this or that. But in all reality, as long as I'm in debt, then there is really no freedom there at all.
Oh, I didn't think about that. We have 5 degrees between us and a house. We're going to be in debt for a long time.
Yeah. I didn't mean to set you guys up for some woo-woo shit here, but I did set you guys up for some woo-woo shit here. And you guys kind of knew from looking at the notes, but like for me, like I started digging into what money is and where the hell money comes from, because it's just a piece of paper. It's just into thin air. It's just magically something has become matter. And now this has monetary value. That like we talked about, everything is a frequency. Everything has a vibration that you can tap into, that you can, the law of attraction, law of assumption, law of all these different laws of the universe, which is a later episode that we haven't fully got into because I'm not someone who's completely versed on it yet, to where I don't want to share that just yet. But like there's all these different laws of the universe that you can tap into, and one of them is the law of abundance and the law of attraction. And people who have tapped into the law of attraction are normally those people who you grew up with, who are just like, dude, every girl wanted Brian. Why did every girl want Brian? That son of a bitch had the law of attraction. Like he was vibrating on the same frequency as the law of attraction. So just all these girls were constantly attracted to him. Well, the law of abundance is that there is endless here forever. It's never going anywhere. It'll continue to be able to be created. It can continue to be manifested and turned into reality. So at what point in time do we tap into that frequency and we go, yeah, I got $30,000 worth of student loan debt, but for some reason, money keeps coming in that allows me to continue doing things. I went to Colorado last year. I didn't go to Colorado on my money. I went to Colorado on a credit card, which I'm paying for right now and is not the right move to do. But I got all this cool content and all this stuff that we might make money from at some point in time with Scooby Ruby Media. I mean, look at all the different YouTube thumbnails that we've gotten just off of that Colorado trip. Literally, like the beginning of all the thumbnails have been Colorado or something from Colorado. So like that money that I spent on going to that trip is being utilized for more abundance. But at some point in time, I got to a place recently where I have a lot of like debts that came out of nowhere. Like, for instance, I took some money out. An old 401k came to me last year when I was in a bind with my car. And I was like, fudge, do I get a new car? Do I put a new engine in this car? Holy shit, this is going to be so expensive. All of a sudden, I get a letter in the mail from a 401k from a company that I thought got transferred over like 6 companies ago. And it's a fat stack of cash. And I call the company and they're like, look, either way you do it, you transfer, you roll it over, or you take it out right now, it's going to get taxed because you sat on it for too long. You didn't roll it over in the 2-year time period. So it's going to get taxed. I'm like, well, fuck, if it's going to get taxed, I'll just take it. So I took it. Well, not knowing that it was going to get taxed again like a dumbass because I haven't been taught any of this shit, right? Should have known, should have did my research, should have looked into it more myself. But I was just like, I manifested this money. Oh, but this was already my money. I already paid into this. No, I didn't manifest this. No. This was me just terrible due diligence with my finances. And I've always felt like that's where we're dive into our relationship with money right now. My relationship with money when I was young was like, I got to get it all. I got to get every single dollar. I'm going to take every single dime from every single person so that I can spread the wealth out throughout this world and make sure that there's nobody who's like monopolized this existence. Everybody gets a chance. Everybody gets an opportunity. Everybody gets a fair level ground. And then I sat there and I was like, I started thinking about all the people who had money and how I looked at them and viewed them as being these evil, basically entities, these evil, terrible people. And I was like, oh, money, if I get too much money, at some point in time, that's going to corrupt me. That's going to alter my mind state. And that's going to turn me into a greedy, son of a bitch who just, all he wants is more power, more money, more this. And I was like, repelled money. I looked at it as something as an evil, the necessity was like, I have to play this because this is how my society is set up. A green piece of paper buys me what I want, and I got to work for this green piece of paper. I don't understand any of this. Doesn't make any sense to me. That's the necessary evil that I have to deal with. So, dude, people who sit there and they'll start to think about like, oh, I have all these things. So like, I'm rich. And I sit there and I think, yes, I have all these awesome things that do give me a lot of joy and a lot of pleasure. Like going out on all the day floats that we've done up to the Mahoning. That is the shit, man. When you can just pull up there, you got all your own stuff, you drop in, there ain't a single soul on that river that we go up to. We do whatever we want. We clean up after ourselves and we have the greatest freaking time. And we don't have to rent it from anybody. And that's like something that's just like, this is the shit. Like, this is cool. Then I got to a place where I was like, okay, dude, you're not Robin Hood. You're not going to take from the rich and give to the poor. This world is definitely a lot different than what you're viewing it as. What you're viewing it as right now is that there is this massive evil and this very, like the evil is so small, but it's so massively powerful. And these people who are just so powerless are so grown in numbers. And you're just like scratching your head trying to figure out like, what the hell is the situation here? To the point now where I'm like, dude, money is a frequency. Money has some type of frequency to it. And if I can tap into that frequency of abundance, then I will always be taken care of. And that is something that I've always felt, like never felt truly, truly rich. Even when I had a 6-figure salary, and even now when I basically have a 6-figure salary, I don't view myself as being this person who has more than other people. I view myself as a person who has a lot more morals, a lot more like give a damn to life and to other people and my surroundings and being connected to nature and being connected to everything, that like I now view money equals able to do good. And that is a whole different viewpoint for me of like, I'm able to do good for myself, to where my happiness, my experiences, my life, but I'm also going to put myself into a place where then I can have things that allow me to be able to do experiences with people or go give other people experiences that they might not have strived for themselves, And I'm loving this existence with money now. I definitely don't like how our society is set up. that this capitalistic style society that we're in is not the vibe, man. It is not the vibe. And it might be the vibe for some people, but it just, everything feels like it's, I got to step on this person to get to this person, to like, oh, I got to stack my cheddar higher than this person's cheddar so that I have this amount of influence or this amount of, whatever control. You're just like, fuck you, pay me.
Yeah.
What am I doing all this for? What is all of this for when I'm not connected back to nature? Like the fact that I even think of nature as being something that's not a part of me, that like I have to go reconnect with nature. And I'm going to sit here and think that just because my bank account doesn't have some zeros in it, I'm not rich. I'm not rich because I'm not a good human. That's the problem. It's not that I'm not wealthy or this or that. It's that I'm not the best version of myself. That's why I'm not rich. And that's what I want to become. Didn't mean to blow shit up that hot, but like.
So what does rich mean for you in that sense then? Like clarify. Yeah.
Rich to me means that I have all of my basic necessities met for this society, this game, this Monopoly board that I'm playing, right? But you're able to take yourself out of the chase. So I don't have to constantly keep chasing everybody else to the next level, to the next tax bracket, to the next, mansion, this or that. Rich to me is great people around me with great relationships. I'm fully a part of my nature. So whether that's growing my own food, whether that's, tending to the earth around me, whether that's going for a hike and picking up all the trash after people, that to me, experiences and connections and community is what makes me rich nowadays.
And then I guess if you're chasing a passion that can turn, like I said, your passion into money, then if that's what you're allowing yourself to fuel what you're after, then it should just naturally fall into place then. Like if you're focused on not the money, but I'm focused on the relationships I have, person I'm being better every day, knowing who I truly am, which will lead me in a way to chase my passions down, which probably in the end will make me money, then all of a sudden you're doing the right things, and then that life of abundance makes more sense. Because then they're just naturally coming to you. That's what makes sense. Like in my job, like if I'm being true to myself and not letting outside factors affect me, then I shouldn't even have to worry about money because I know it'll take care of itself. And that's why I find myself in a job that aligns to me somehow. I would hope most of our jobs align with us in some instance. Sure, there's other things I'd rather be doing, but I think that's hitting the nail on the head for you. Is you're putting all the focuses on the right things, and if that's the case and it aligns with who you truly are, then the money thing should take care of itself.
And that's, for me, that was this podcast. Like this podcast, doing this with you guys is a perfect example. Like I didn't talk to you, Titty, about a lot of this. I talked to Derry a lot when we were bike riding. But like when we first started this, I would say stuff to Derry like, man, you gotta step up, man. You gotta bring more to the fucking table. You're killing me. Like I'm doing all this shit on my own. Like, and
he wasn't wrong.
and no, but like there was a turning point for me when it came down to this, and especially building the media company with you, that I was like, if this is meant to be, it's gonna be. And as long as I keep showing up and I keep
and
doing the work, at some point in time, it's gonna,
yeah,
there's
but at
gonna
some
be a
point,
trend.
I thought that, like it's
So
more
probably-
eventually I
and-
thought that. I don't know.
I sat there and I was constantly trying to make money out of this. That's what was the problem, was that I was like, how do we get this to the point where we're making money now? Dude, we gotta get rid of all the sponsors out of the background of the stuff, man, because we don't want any sponsors in here, so that we can start trying to get sponsors in here to then start making some money off of this. And that's how we're gonna do it. And then it was, dude, we need to get the print on demand business going now. Like, why are we not doing this? Dude, I'm so mad at myself. Why are we not accomplishing this? And at some point I finally went like, dude, you just did it again. You just got 30 pounds heavy again because you stressed yourself out. You stopped focusing on the all around. So that was waking up, doing all my other stuff for me, then coming to this and doing it for the love of doing this for the love to share conscious conversations. Like, all three of us have a different viewpoint on money. I'm sure we probably all have somewhat of a different viewpoint on money and different viewpoint on all of these conversations that we have. And yet we show up here without judgment. That's what most men are missing. I've watched it with our own friends. I've watched it so recently. So like when I finally hit that point where I was like, all right, dude, focus on yourself, get yourself physically fit again, because you were just literally the weight that you wanted to be. You were on the brink. You were at 190 pounds. You were on your way down to into the 180s, and you were about to be the cycling weight that you were hoping for. And then you got so jammed up over this, so jammed up that you were going to your job and miserable at your job and coming home and bringing that miserable bullshit home to Haas and just being a piss ass, just an absolute piss ass. And I even told him, I was like, dude, I feel this shift. This is not too long ago. This was another time when we talked. I was like, something's changed, dude. I'm ready. And like even 3 weeks ago, we had this conversation again of like, felt like we stepped into a new timeline. But like shortly after that was when you got a new job and you completely like 180 changed yourself. Like watching who you were like coming to the podcast was like tough, because you were the guy who when Trisha told me to go wake you up on Halloween and I crawled into bed and literally,
I don't even remember that.
Literally started tickling your ear. You're the guy who just turns around and just gives a big bear hug. Like, come on in here. I love you, buddy. And like, he doesn't know who it is. He just shows love.
Like Harsley?
Yeah, exactly. And that was not who you were when you were going to that job. That job was taking a piece of you that it was hard to watch because of this society that we live in that's like, got to make the money, got to do this, got to keep up.
You got me thinking all day for the, you got me thinking like Brandon again.
I worked all day, get this girl.
That job.
Making that money is what's really hard for me to watch sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to watch someone's soul like leaving their body because of the existence that they do every day and how miserable they are. Not because they're not good at the job that they do, but because they have no passion behind what they're doing. Okay, I'm making parts that are ultimately going to help somebody else's life. I can get behind that. All right, cool. Punch this, keep going. All right, I'm making parts that this is going to make somebody's day. I ain't going to see it. I'm not going to experience it. I'm not going to experience giving that joy to someone who's going to get a prosthetic leg or that kind of stuff. But at least, okay, I can at least make it to the end of the day. Then you make it to the end of the day and you get out and you're like, whoop, dog, because of all the work that you had to do mentally just to make it through that.
You go to the gym just so you can maintain your joints. And then you get home, watch like 1 to 2 episodes, something, go to sleep. And then you're done.
Yeah. So when my relationship changed recently with how I viewed things like abundance, that was when this podcast like took a 180 turn. And it has been, dude, I've been having so much effing fun with you guys. Like so much fun. Skit Wednesdays are the shit, dude.
Yeah,
and I'm having a blast. Like it's so much fun to watch like us change into something different. So like not to continue listening to me ramble now for way too long, but like I want to hear about your guys' relationships with money. Or like how you guys might view money differently in the future.
Yeah. I feel like it's been messy for me. I appreciate what you're saying, and that perspective change is important anywhere. And I think it's all about finding harmony in life. Like so many different things. Like if you're able to harmonize with your true self, then all those things will come to fruition. Like taking a time life off of our expectations of the podcast has freed us the sense where we're probably more productive and having more fun than we ever have with it. So I love that, and definitely a switch that needs to be flicked for me. But as far as just like the question, bare bones of relationship with money, yeah, it's been interesting. Like I came from a family where money didn't grow on trees. Every dollar was earned and spent as it was earned. So that's why I started a job when I was 16 and starting to realize like, well, usually this is just me taking care of myself in the short term. And that's why I feel like now where I have more money, it's for me to find ways to look to better my future self. I've always found myself in the survival mode, always in the instant gratification. Like, cool, got a couple extra bucks. I wouldn't even consider to spend or save it. No way I would ever save. Why would I save this money? This is my couple extra dollars. I'm going to use it right now. So now it's tough for me when, again, with like a boot on my car, for instance, wow, what a solid my past self could have done for Derek today by just paying the parking tickets as they come, or I don't know, buying a $20 parking permit per year when I parked on the street. Now, why would I do that? That's crazy. That's an insane take, dude. Pay $20 so you don't have to pay so much more money. So like, as I start to look at it, the relationship is messy because I don't find myself in a way right now where I don't think we're worried to death about the next day financially. I do find myself in debt. I wish I could release myself from that. I feel like there's such freedom to be had when I'm able to ruin myself, especially for like something as crooked as schooling. I hate schooling. It's like, it's just that list of things that I feel like is so crooked and backwards that it makes no sense. Like I could have done my job I have right now at 18. I probably would have done my job at 18. I talked to you about that when we were on the phone.
Talk about
Dude,
that.
I truly felt like for what I do, it's something I still love and I'm passionate behind, but the passion I had when I was 18, the lack of giving a fuck at all that I had at that point, I get to sit here and just talk about sports with people, and sometimes they'll give me money, and then I get paid based off how much money they give me. I don't think we're the greatest job ever, and no one would ever have to teach me how to do that. So now I'm in debt for, the back end of my student loans, working a job that I do enjoy. I wouldn't be there if I didn't, but also find myself like, man, did I really need to I don't think work 40 hours a week in college and then go to school for 15 credits and act like I gave a shit about any of those classes only to be in debt for the next 25 years? No. So the goal for me moving forward would be to start considering my future self a little more. I've never really budgeted. Last year's the first time I actually saved money, and now it's all gone. For the most part, just things are more expensive. And like, you're right. Like, and looking into the abundance standpoint, yeah, I've been able to do more for myself in the last 2 years, 18 months than I have been in a very long time. I went to Ireland with my family. I went to Colorado with you guys and my girlfriend. I bought a bike. I paid for things when needed. I'm moving into a new apartment. Those are all great things. But like, what I need to get back into acting is a way of, which I used to approach life is, I am always poor. No one can tell me different. Last couple of years, I haven't felt that way. I just didn't act like I was poor. It's like, I can afford things I've never really bought before. And nothing crazy. Like, I need a new wardrobe, bro. I wear the same clothing I've worn. Like, I have band t-shirts from 12 years ago. I'm still in the regular rotation, So I'm not like a materialistic person. I'm pretty frugal in that sense. But like you said, like those experiences, things that make you happy, that help you harmonize with who you are, I will strive for those things. And if I could look at my job as a means to continue to do those things, those make me happy, I can find a little more passion for what I'm doing again, then we're on the right train. But I think the biggest thing for me right now is to not sacrifice my future self any further. Hate finding myself, Derek, you did it to yourself again, Yeah. Remember when I blew my Subaru engine twice in like a calendar year?
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
I did it once, completely my fault. I'm sorry. The second time, not necessarily my fault. The shop actually covered the engine the second time because I don't remember what they did. They didn't put the the oil filter in correctly, and it just blew. So with that being said, though, like, yeah, idiot situation, but all I had to do was maintain my car correctly and, I don't know, jack the oil, just not imagine it into tank. What was in Deadpool is like an educated wish.
Yeah, an educated wish.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it was.
exactly. Like an educated wish that there's oil in my car. So same thing with the boot or student loans or financial decisions that are actually long-term. Haven't made anything like that. I haven't bought a house. My car is paid off. I'm lucky enough in those instances where I haven't made a really large financial commitment since going to school because I'm kind of afraid of like how all the other long-term financial commitments I've made have fucking sucked. So, like, yeah, I'll bet $5 on some football and be like, yeah, dude, like, look at that financial decision. But on the other side, it goes like, how are you going to continue to make sure that you're not sacrificing your future self?
Generous with other people,
But
and
the
I'm
balance there, and that was the question I wrote here, is like, how can you continue to keep yourself in mind, but also balance like living in the moment too? Like, I want to still go on trips. I'm not too worried
counting
about
dimes,
what I'm doing
nickels.
in my 70s. I visualize my 70s with my woman in a house, quietly sitting there, enjoying the days, and then I'm dead. Like I'm not hiking up a fucking mountain. I'm not going and seeing the road like I would in my 30s. I'd rather see it now. I'm so much more willing and able. So how can I continue to balance that with the thought of the future in mind? I don't think we're tough, but that's where I want to go.
My answers would be some woo-woo shit.
Yeah. Okay. Then what would your answer be?
Well, I first wanted to ask you, when you started did you start making more money before you started spending more money? Or did you mentally like start spending more money and then you got into a better place of work?
I would have never spent money that I didn't.
Okay.
I don't think we still have a hard time doing it, but that's where like your credit card bit came up too. To me, it was like, I'm really bad at that, man. Like when there are months that I got a little less coming in, my job's month to month, honestly. So when I have a little less coming in, I don't really check it as all. I'm like, how much you spent? Like those $30 little charges, you think that's $30, okay, whatever. And then you do like 4 or 5 of those in a couple days, and you're like, there's an extra $200 on my card now? 10. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? So that's what makes it tough on my side too, is like, I would never spend the money that I didn't have, but now that I've gotten a little taste of it, kind of find myself doing it,
I don't think
Yeah, hoping it's going to continue to come. But that's where I'll laugh at your abundance like bullshit, because I got to work for that shit, bro. If I don't, I can go, I hope someone calls me today. It ain't gonna work, baby. I call that motherfucker. And I got to talk to him.
But you're the manifest generator. I'm just a generator. We did this life shit already. We did what your
So why do I keep
human
making the
design
same
chart
fucking
is.
mistakes then?
That's
I don't
a
think we're-
freaking question.
Why
for
do I just
yourself,
keep coming
dog.
back and doing the same shit? Not even in other lifetimes. Why do I keep doing it now?
I mean,
I don't-
that would just be like what? But the
If I
slap
told
in the
my
head would
dad
be
doesn't
like,
even know about the boot on the car. If I told my dad about the boot on the car, he'd go, good. Always something.
I'm texting him right
Always
now.
something with you. I mean, I didn't call him for money. I was fine. Whatever. But yeah, so what was your point about the spending before I get it?
No, I was just curiosity killed the cat. Because I know like the new company came in, took over, and that's when I feel like this.
I'll make
all
less money.
No,
this
but
year.
I feel like when the new company came in is when we started really spending money together and whatnot. And
It was odd
that
timing.
kind of, I know it's odd timing,
Yeah.
but I'm just thinking like subconsciously, did you sit there and think, not even knowingly, but like, oh, these guys came in with a lot of money. I'm going to make more money now. Our commission plans are going to be better. All this stuff's going to be better.
I mean, in theory,
and then but you're in theory thinking that potentially like,
Yeah.
this should be better. This should be better.
and not that it's not better, but it's more structured. Everything's a fine tooth comb. So like, yeah, structure doesn't mean better. Like,
I
are
was
they business savvy and they're taking it that way? Absolutely. Is it more beneficial to me? No, because we probably were taking advantage of something last year that was not going to come around this year. So I think it was a timing thing. I don't know. Subconsciously, I thought that like it's more a wait and see type thing. And obviously, with the performance of the product that I sell, like it could go up and down, left, right. Doesn't matter. So that was the subconscious. Like, oh shit, we're not going to be very good. People don't really want to come see this team. And that's not the case. People care regardless here. But that's probably the more subconscious point than anything.
I don't think we're interesting. No, I just sometimes I like to try to dive into like what was going on in my life at that point in time. Like, were there a bunch of factors that I didn't even sit there and think about? Was I thinking about things differently at that point in time? How was I thinking about things at that point in time? I mean, I'm just crazy, dude. Like, I'm the guy who's driving down the road just constantly thinking about 3,000 thoughts at one point in time. Like, and to the point where it's just like, dude, stop thinking. But Brandon, like, where is your relationship with money? Like, you seem like this sumbitch got it figured out over here. This guy's been doing it since we were in our 20s.
Just because I'm married. No, I'm just kidding.
And that's not kidding at all. That's exactly the reason.
Yeah. I mentioned we share a joint account and a savings account. Not. So I've always been cheap and generous, which is kind of ironic. Like, I'm generous with other people and I'm frugal with myself. You guys should have saw I'm the king of Amazon wish list and Facebook Marketplace taped. I'm like, I like that. You're just going to go on a back burner for 2 years now. So, for instance, I was just showing off. I got like a stylus that was cost me $13 for the iPad. So I waited a long, long time for that. And I'm like, don't need it. Whatever's working out still works. Don't need it. And then last week, I did not bill for 73 and a half hours, but I did bill for 71 and a half. And I told myself, I was like, you know what? You wanted to buy yourself a monitor. You wanted to buy yourself a little stand to hold up your iPad, and you wanted to buy yourself a stylus, and your old keyboard, like, you got water on it and it ruined it. So, you know what? You deserve to splurge a little bit. And those things that stayed saved for a very long time, finally they came to fruition. I was like, all right, it's time. You've been working really hard for the past, like, we'll just say 2 months. 2 months I've been working really hard. And I was like, all right, this is your opportunity. You just work. Like, I'll say past 3 weeks were very exhausting. I'll just give it 2. I'll be modest. 2 weeks were extremely exhausting. So I rewarded myself. Generally, my relationship with money, the only place I really splurge is, eating. You don't look like this from hating food. But, yeah, so I would say
it's just going to come back to haunt you at some point in time again. Or potentially, like, if it haunts.
When I was 5, I started, like, counting pennies in kindergarten. That's how you learn to count. And then you started counting dimes, nickels, quarters, all that stuff. So my relationship just started off with counting. And then as I got to a little bit older, like 12 to 18, I was buying experiences and things, going out on dates. Not at 12. Well, I didn't cost money to go out on dates at 12 years old. I'll say that. Unless you're a G. But as I got to like 18 to 22, I started seeing it as saving for rainy days. Things like an Ocean City trip with my brothers and a couple friends. Following year, another Ocean City trip. So I was really just like saving my money up for experiences more than anything. So I would just cash in whenever it came time. You don't want to be at like 15 or 16, I'm sure we all have been in this boat. You're like the guy who can't buy like McDonald's like chicken sandwich when you're out with friends because you're like, yeah, I don't have any money. And that's always like, you're not getting anything? No, I'm not hungry. Like, you might be hungry, but you're not getting anything because you don't have any money. So at 15, I was just about to turn 16. I already had my application before I had my birthday. I was in there like the day before my birthday. I'm like filling out an application. I'm like, hey, about to turn 16. I got my workers permit already here in my school uniform. All right, let's do this thing. And yeah, by about like 16, I had money to actually go and do experiences. Once I got to like 22 to 31, where I'm at now, I started to treat my job and time spent as my time earned. So like money that I'm losing is the life that I'm losing. And I factored out if you say that you make $20 an hour, and then you need to buy a car. I did the math. A car is valued at $20,000, and you got to spend 1,000 hours. That is a long time. You better like that car, but you better like it a lot. Or at least a lot of people take their cars for granted. You know, they're just like driving around. They don't like, I'm not saying about the Subaru. I'm not saying that. I'll say that a lot of people don't give a shit about their car. And I'm like, it's the same way with the money. You got to think about like, well, you've just lost the chunk of your life. So you better at least like value that chunk of your life, which is for me, why that Amazon wish list that just stayed there. And then I was like, you know what? Chunk of my life, I'll reward myself with these things that I value that I've been holding off on getting, and then they'll bring me back joy. So the way I have a relationship with money is like, it's a means to an end. It's a barter system that we all have, that we're just trading our time. And plug for anyone, if you have not watched In Time with Justin Timberlake, write that down on a note right now. Watch that movie. I won't say it'll change your life, but it'll change your perspective on money. They all treat money as how much life you have to live. We'll just say that everyone's under 30 and say that you're 50 years old and you have like 3 minutes left. You only have 3 minutes left. You could steal someone's time. You could trade someone time. You could do anything, but the time that you have on your person is all you have left. Someone could have 100 years. People hoard, the people who are in the elites, they just hoard this money. Like, they gamble with it. They do all these things. And meanwhile, you're like looking at Joe Schmo, who's like, you know, living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 4 kids. And you're just like, we need help. And there's other people that are just living life. And you're like, yeah, I'm trying to get by. And spoiler alert, Justin Timberlake, in the movie, he's street savvy. And he is just like living day to day. But other people, they're just splurging wherever they feel like it. And I'm like, that's not. And that's kind of what we're living with right now. You said about money, I identify with the Matrix. I'm like, we're all just living in this system. And in the original Matrix, they're living off of all like the tens of hundreds of thousands of people who are all fueling the machine. And that's what we're living in. We're just like all keeping happy in our virtual systems. That's keeping us tied down to just think that we're really involved and invested. Some of us are. But some of us are just like kind of in the illusion. Some of us are aware we're in the illusion. And it's just like, I guess this is good enough. This is just my life, you know? And a lot of us, like you're talking about, kind of escaping the system. That's Vermocht, the one, Neo, that's the person who can kind of escape and get out of the system. Just live their truth and live within their values.
I see the Matrix thing for me is like a very interesting topic. I feel like we definitely should like make that like a full episode at some point in time to like really dig into and like talk about for ourselves, like what our personal opinions are on towards it, man. Because like, what if we really were just a battery system? Like our energy that we're putting out into the universe is a battery for somebody else. Or like, I still go back to the Rick and Morty line where Summer asks Rick if she's evil, and he goes, "No, Summer, you're just smart." And smart people, you know, get the opportunity to take a universe for the ride. He goes, "I've been to a ton of universes and a ton of dimensions, and I've never met a single universe that's into it, basically into being ridden for." He goes, "The universe continues to spit out more and more idiots for it to consume, and along comes a smart person given the opportunity to take it for a ride." And I'm like, what? Whoa, this isn't a cartoon show. Like a ridiculous cartoon that like people would shrug off because they're like, why is this shit so creepy? And then and then years later you're like, oh my God, this has so much like meaning to it.
I'm dying. I don't like the way Brandon positioned that I should, if I'm having a bad day driving my car, I should think about how all the bad times I've spent at work and the hours I've spent and go, maybe you should just be a little happier because you got a car now.
No, that's not what I meant.
I know.
I mean, but it's not a bad philosophy.
I should be happy. Like when I'm on trips and I'm like thinking about how I'm missing out on work, I'm like, well, I should just be happy right now because when I go back to work, I'm just going to be pissed off.
Damn, you
I'm sorry I put that.
I'm
thought in your head.
be pissed off. No,
You're gonna be pissed off when you get back to work?
I'm just kidding. No, I'm fine.
I don't
but,
think
but
bad.
no, but like you got to work and not look at it that way. Like, yeah, you're right. Okay, when I that is a great way of me like, cool. Like, yeah, I should respect my car a little bit more and like, make sure. And I think job, but as I mentioned before, when I didn't respect a past car, I wasn't ready to take on the short-term responsibility of it, so I suffered long-term consequences. And had I had in mind, like, cool, like I am paying every month towards this car, like portion of the time I spend at work is going towards this vehicle. Maybe you should put a little uptick into it, or a little bit of maintenance, and then I ask the same question to myself, like, cool, dude, you put all this weight on yourself. When's the last time you invested in like maintaining, I don't know, you as a human being? And the answer is the same, none at all.
You also
So-
worked 2 jobs at that time. I want to highlight that.
I don't
for
think
all of
what
our
did I do?
viewers. You were
You
working
worked
enterprise.
multiple jobs.
You're working
I don't think
for
we're
soccer,
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
was,
okay.
yeah.
and
Well, I worked 2 jobs a lot too.
you were catering to all of us too. We
Yeah.
all
I don't think
first
first time
hog your
like,
time.
right now, in the time that I've known you for the last 10, 11 years, dude, this is the first time I've ever seen you not working 2 jobs.
I straight up went, when did I work 2 jobs?
Like, when did
I
you
was
not?
My entire life.
Yeah,
This
Yeah.
guy's you were going to school full time while working full time, but then on top of working full time and going to school full time, homeboy loved to throw in that PI at you.
And I
Yep.
was interning too.
So like,
and you had a relationship and maintain all of your friendships and your family relationships.
You could argue that going to you fell by the side, and that's what's hard. It's like
no, but it's definitely not fallen by the wayside when you're the person who literally everybody comes to.
yeah,
So don't give me that bullshit.
yeah. But at some point,
fallen by the wayside.
Okay, you're-
More like you were being taken for a ride and you had to finally start to build a little bit of your own boundaries to
Yeah.
how much can I actually really handle.
yeah. I think
Not,
it's important
I
for
gotta
myself.
take all this shit on.
Well, right, but when like the people in your life, if I were to rank priorities at that time, I would have always put the people at the top. So why spread myself so thin if I can't prioritize that without sacrificing myself? And then here I am now, which I've took me long enough, 31 years to figure out. But yeah, I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't work a second job. I loved it, but it's like I can't continue to do that. There's not enough money that would make me do, or you don't pay me enough to consider. Not that there isn't enough, you just don't pay me enough. And that's not anyone's fault, but yeah, I think that's what makes it tough too. Is it's just that balance, man, of like being honest with yourself and understanding what you're willing to sacrifice in exchange for a little more freedom and a little more being able to do what you want or purchase what you want, or at least make the proper investments in long-term things like I hope to, and property and say buying a house instead of renting like I have for, again, the last, whatever it's been, 10, 11, 12 years. So those are the important things.
Yeah, but can you sit here and say, I cannot sit here and say, looking back, I know when the light flipped for me, but I cannot sit here and say that the versions that I'm talking about had any awareness whatsoever.
I think we're
No.
As a human being, I had no awareness whatsoever. And now I feel like what we've been working on the past 4 years together has
So
been
it's
building
I would
that
pay for that,
awareness.
sir.
to like now I'm starting to actually now we have all these
fruition. I was
finally
like,
they came to fruition.
I was like,
you've
all right, it's time.
really hard for the
You've
path
been working
to those
really
things
hard.
of like shit. Now that
for
I
the
have all
past,
this
like we'll just say, it's like 2 months.
hell was going on back
Super
then.
intense. It's kind of
Okay, so now I got to start releasing all these traumas to be able to finally get myself back to where like I've basically Men in Blacked myself and just wiped my brain
I would pay for that, sir.
and just move on.
So
But I think we've been doing that, dude. And I know like all of that stuff still can be sitting there because those are experiences. Those are pieces of you. And if you fully let those go completely, then what is that going to do for your
You'll
awareness? I don't
have a
think
hard
it's
time
because
doing
if
it.
you completely let go of all that shit, like people will talk about like fully let go of your traumas and just never think about them ever again, release them off and just move on with your life. But if I release them off and move on with my life to where I don't have the awareness for like, okay, these were things that happened to me. Now I know the telltale signs before those actual occurrences would occur. So now I can go, well, hold up. Nope. Not going down that path, because I know where that path led me in the past. But if I completely let go of that shit and just like fully erase it from my mind, then I'm now prone to potentially become susceptible to that in the future, right?
Yeah. So for the awareness, it's
I don't think we're
much anymore shit happens, period. It's shit happens, but why did that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, and also what you just said about not wanting to release past traumas too, and don't laugh at me, but that's the issue I've had with therapy. I go to therapy, I talk to the guy,
I don't think we're
what my issues are, and then I tell him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like, yeah, okay, we're talking about your issues," and I'm starting to like talk to him. I'm like, yeah, I mean, sure, there's like I'm understanding them a little better, but it feels like I'm just trying to explain them in a very deep level to him, and I already kind of got what he's gonna tell me anyway. And then on the second level, it's like, well, I mean, look at where I am.
I don't think we're
Cards stacked against me so many times, and I've come out on top. So a little bit of what I've experienced in the past, or maybe a lot of it, had to do with where I am currently right now. So if I'm able to like release these traumas and these demons I have in me, then am I going to be a little less who I am?
I don't think we're
I don't know. That's probably a really fucked up way of looking at it. But there is some like instance of me, it's like, man, like that's kind of who makes me me. Right? And I don't think therapy is something for it to like wipe the slate clean like we're in Men in Black. I think it's a way of helping to understand and conceptualize what traumas have occurred and like how those have affected you and like how you can move on in your life and doing it in a healthy manner. But like, I mean, over the last few years, I feel like I'm getting to that point anyway. It's not so much about like, what has happened to me? It's more like, okay, it happened. I thought about why it happened. And now I want that to still be a part of me so I don't get burnt by the same bullshit in the future. But I'm not willing to let go of it either because I don't see the benefit in truly like not acting like I wasn't that person in the past either. Because then you're more susceptible exactly to what you said of just falling into the same traps if you don't remember it.
Yeah. It's just going to come back to haunt you at some point in time again. Or potentially, like if it haunted you at one point in time and it was some type of energy that attracted to you, then how am I not acknowledging that and then saying, nope, adios, throwing it in the river, letting it float downstream, and you're like, mosey on down to your new campsite, and you're like, oh, fuck. That just followed me right down the river. You know, like at some point in time, it might come right back to bite you. So like that for me would lead into our last situation today of like talking about, can we pour one out for all the homies out there? Like we're all 3 gentlemen who are in long-term committed relationships, but like, dude, can we pour one out for them some bitches out there? Because I feel the pain of these some bitches, dog. Like, I was the guy who was like, you have a different relationship with your girlfriend that I didn't experience. I did not experience the beginning of like having like this beautiful, healthy relationship of each putting in to the experiences that you do. Like, you guys like splitting checks, paying for experiences
I
together.
pay for a lot
like,
of shit, thank you, dude.
I know you do.
Yeah,
Chill
yeah,
the
I'm
fudge
talking
out.
to you. Yeah, but no,
Chill
I'm
the
kidding.
fudge
No,
out,
no,
but,
I'm
like-
kidding. She covers my ass a lot.
But
I cover her ass
so,
a lot.
like,
It's reciprocating.
No, I know.
It's not,
And
yeah.
for me, like, my dating experience was always, I got to pay for everything. Like, that's just how it was. The man pays for everything. That's how it is. Like, the man pays for everything. The fuck? But no, but like nowadays.
Is the man only eating?
Yeah, he's the man only eating. But like nowadays, like,
Where's her food? Oh, I'm paying. I'm paying.
I bet you're hungry.
She didn't bring her wallet. Idiot.
that'd be hilarious. That's the skit for this
We
episode.
should do that.
So, anywho, like, can we pour one out for the homies out there? Because, like, honestly, man, shout out to all y'all trying to find love out there, because I don't think it's going to get any cheaper. And I hope that you find love in the best ways possible, because it should not be just fellas, ladies out there. If money is already something that is involved in your relationship of why or why not you would be with this specific person, walk away now.
You know what the number one date my girlfriend talks about from our early in a relationship is when we went for a walk and sat next to the river for 5 person.
Incredible.
That's it. That's all I got. Because I pulled it. You brought this up. It was a great topic. Of like, man, being a teenager and like jumping in the dating scene right now is insane. Like for me, I thought about, like, first of all, it's insane because of dating apps and social media. Like when we were in a teenager, like really didn't have as big of an effect as I could only imagine, dude. Like you could be replaced instantaneously. Like if
To
you're
the
like
next-
early on, there's not a lot of commitment there. Like it's window shopping at that point. Financial decisions.
Within 20 minutes, it's now the
Hey,
next
if you're not
guy.
bringing things to the table, I don't think we're bringing to the table. I got 7 dudes in my DMs right now.
6 of them got abs.
6 of them got abs. What do you got, Tubby?
I got a double.
Go to go.
I think that's where the beauty now lies in where our world is going. Our world is definitely going to this place where, I don't know, maybe it's just me.
So you can maintain your joints.
If I
and then maintain your
built the Dr. Pepper on the table. Built the Dr. Pepper on the table. I gotta wait 3 more weeks to try to 3 more weeks to try to.
Yeah.
Well, news by then. Yeah. We'll be out of the media cycle. We'll be out of the media.
all the time. He's got the green jacket on. He looks like the Lorax man. The dude is a dope dude. I want to meet him. I want to hang out with him. But he, like, all his videos are just him with a microphone that's on a stick. And it's just him talking out in the woods about, like, you know, you don't always have to have all this money. For 20 quid, we got in the car, put some petro in, got, you know, a couple instant mac and cheeses, drove to the beach, hung out on the beach in the evening, made a fire, made some instant mac. Thinking about 3,000 thoughts at one point in time. Like, I don't
think you said it right.
It's just like, I
don't think
didn't say it right.
Oh, yeah, you got to put some picture in.
Yeah, I definitely
I think I
didn't
know
say
that
it
is now.
right. I definitely didn't say it right, but I
Well,
love seeing his videos because, like, that to me is like, with social media, like, I think when we were kids, and I could be wrong, without all of that external influence, there was like, it was kind of what your parents and where your, like, there was kind of like a society, like, norm. Now, there is so much wild wonder out there with social media that there is no norm.
You didn't really fall far from the tree back then. Like, you know, there was like the courting, you brought them over, parents like, they fucking suck. Don't bring that person back over again. Doesn't align with us at all. And yada, yada, yada. And one thing I was going to bring up too is like everyone back in our time of like early dating, I feel like you had like your puncher's chant, you know, like nowadays, like, you know, you're trying to, you know, a little above your weight class. They get on that Instagram, check out like, oh, you know, not like, this is the guy, really? So like, I don't know any different back in the day. You know, you go and you throw your best punch and you never know what's going to happen. Nowadays, I feel like a lot of people get cut out the front door.
Well, back in the day, it was basically from your school district. That was really all you did until you went to football games, or your parents knew someone from a different school district and you were friends with someone from the neighboring school district. So you'd go hang out with your buddy over there, and then he'd introduce you to all the girls from that, you know, school district, and now you're the new guy. So it's just like, whoa, who's the new fresh shit on, you know, fresh meat on campus? Like, wow.
Who's the new fresh shit on the sidewalk? Who took this shit?
Like, I remember dudes and girls that were like, I know all these people from South Park. I'm like, how the fuck do you know meet all these people from South Park? Oh, what's his name? And then it's, or cheerleading, like different dance teams and stuff like that. Different sports, like sports teams, travel teams is where you got to meet people from other school districts around me. And that's how, like, I mean, I remember meeting an entire group of girls that we hung out with from Baldwin, and they were like, who are you? Oh,
I don't think
it's
we're
like,
like,
I don't know anybody like you. And I'm like, I'm no different than probably half the
Oh,
guys
just
in
like
your
that,
school.
like that
you
was
know?
that guy has a beard. He's
On wish list.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Facebook.
But, I mean, yeah, I think that I want to pour one out for the homies who are striving are holding up those old traditions of like the man pays.
73 and a half
Shout out
hours.
to you for trying to keep that alive. That is cool, but also kind of stupid. Just if she's a real one, she's going to be very supportive and is also going to be someone who your money is not why she's with you.
$123 to go on a date.
Yeah,
24.
that's what I saw, dude. That was wild.
123 for dinner and a movie.
Is average cost.
That's crazy.
I don't think we're
Like what?
making $15 an hour. Making $10, $15 an hour, you know, that's
And we still have to get through
That's 2
entry-level
days-
jobs to
that's
get
2
good
days
ones.
worth of work to go on one date. That's nutty professor
Bro, that's half.
bullshit.
If you get taxed like in the city and you work 35 hours at 15
Like,
an hour,
seriously.
that's half your paycheck.
I don't think we're crazy.
It's half your paycheck on a date.
I don't think so. You gotta work 2 or 3 weeks to get to a Friday night to have your date, and then maybe try again on Saturday, and then you can do that maybe 52 times a year.
And then you just like spill the drink at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Like 120. I go worked all day for the. You got me thinking like Brandon again. I worked all day. I hate that job. Get this girl out. Built the Dr. Pepper on the table. I gotta wait
Wasted
3.
Dr.
I gotta
Pepper.
wait 3 more weeks to try to this.
Yeah.
I'll be on news by then. I'll be out of the media cycle.
Yeah, I just think today's society gives you that's where the beauty of the social media comes in. Like you can find people who are looking for those experiences, you can find people who are looking for those, you know, materialistic things. It's wherever you want to go. There's still going to be the people who want to get all the fancy cars, want to get all the fancy bullshit, want to dress to the nines every single place they go. And then you're going to find the people who just want to exist
Mm-hmm.
and just want to have fun, maybe play some music, start a fire, hang out, talk,
Light shit on
communicate.
fire.
Yeah, light shit on fire.
I like to brush it on
For
fire.
sure
know?
you do.
You'll find the people in the happy middle.
I love it.
All right, y'all. This was a crazy conversation on money.
We
I
even
mean,
talk about money.
I think we talked about money. And this is definitely going to be a topic that we discuss next year around this time. Roll it back, come back on the hit, and see where our, you know, conversation takes us in that one, because I think we talked about money. I think we did. I think we did.
If
a
I'm
pretty
here
decent
saying the
job.
same shit next year, I quit.
Well, they're saying the same shit next year, but I would like
you
to
know what I
see
mean? Like we can start like, okay, we talked about how you want to start considering your future self, Derek. Have you done that at all? Well,
oh, that a nut
I
buster.
bought a first aid
That
kit.
will be a nut buster, dude.
I brought first aid.
All right, y'all. As always, don't trust us. Trust yourself. We love y'all. We got Brandon. We got Derek. We got myself, Zach. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks again for tuning in to episode 28, Money. How the fudge do you balance a checkbook? Well, I'm not sure if everybody gave you some golden nuggets today. Brandon definitely did. The rest of us, well, we're still working, and we're trying, and we're getting better. So, we didn't teach you anything about money. There were some golden eggs. Don't hesitate to catch our next installment, episode 29. Beam me up. I feel so in tune. The group discusses synchronicities. You know, that Carl Jung, and I don't know, maybe if you want to classify it as some woo-woo shit, but it's probably not. We get together and we discuss all the synchronicities that we've noticed in life recently and with trying to become a better version of ourselves. Well, we've had some interesting ones recently, so we'll see you guys on the next one, and we appreciate you guys riding along with us as always. Take care. As we always say, like we did at the end of the episode, don't trust us, trust yourself. You got this.